no intercession. See, he goes into more detail either. Nor will they be helped. Back to biblical stories. And now you remember how God tested Abraham. Okay, he's going to get into now his idea that his religion is Abraham's religion. He's going to start now focusing on Abraham. We had the flood, we had Adam, we had all these other things. We had the red heifer. Now back to Abraham. Why? Because this is the pivotal moment in the Quran when the whole religion is going to turn. As Christianity does in Romans and Galatians, when Paul makes the same argument, that Christianity is the belief of Abraham. That's what he says in Galatians and Romans. Just read them and you'll see. Muhammad, same thing, slightly different, because he also claims descent from Abraham. Okay, remember when the Lord tested Abraham? When did in the Bible the Lord test Abraham? Sacrifice his son. In the Bible it's Isaac, and the Quran it's Ishmael. And of course he didn't sacrifice him. He found a ram, and therefore that's where they made the temple, brought animal sacrifice instead of blood sacrifice. And that's in the letter of James. It's the point that the letter of James throws at the author of Paul's letters. Don't you know that when Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac, the Lord tested Abraham and called him a friend? It's in James 2. Don't you know that that's a work, and that's how we're saved, faith and works working together. Not just by faith, as you say in Galatians and Romans, and Hebrews, by the way. All the stuff is there. You have to believe me, it's there. If you want to go look at it, you can find it. I trust me. If you don't want to trust me, you can see for yourself. All that's there. Okay, so now Abraham is the focal point. The Lord tried Abraham. And we're going to get into now Ishmael, because it was, for the Muslims, Ishmael who was sacrificed, or going to be sacrificed. And we made a house at Mecca, a resort for mankind. And we imposed a duty upon Abraham and Ishmael. Here it is. Purify my house for those who go around it. That was in the Asad Kamil material. That this is a shrine founded by Abraham and his son Ishmael. But it's like the old traditions for those who go around the shrine. And here's where he says that the Kaaba in Mecca is Abraham's. And Abraham prayed, and he was answered, line 126. And when Abraham and Ishmael, 127, raised the foundations of the house, the Kaaba, they built the Kaaba. That's in the Asad Kamil stories, and it's here too. And the Lord said, be submissive, and so on, 128. 129, our Lord raised up in their midst a messenger who will recite unto them the revelations. And here we go, 130, now we've already got it. And he who forsakes the religion of Abraham. So now they built the Kaaba, and now what we're talking about is the religion of Abraham. Has he used that phrase before? No. This is all new, all from Medina, all in light of his new situation in Medina. And now that's what Islam is. The religion of Abraham, just as in Galatians and Romans, Christianity is the faith of Abraham. It's a small shift from religion to faith, or vice versa. If you don't believe me, it's in Paul. Go and read Romans, and go and read Galatians 3, Galatians 3, Galatians 3 and 4. Galatians 3 and 4 is a clear statement. Okay, and when they forsake the religion of Abraham, save him who befools him. We chose the world. When his Lord said unto him, who? Abraham. Tested him. When? In the sacrifice of Isaac. As Muhammad puts it here, or the angel, surrender. Now we heard about surrender just a few lines before. We didn't know how important it was. Surrender now becomes the name of the religion of Islam. Islam literally means surrender. It can mean, of course, surrender your will to Allah. It can also mean surrender to all Muslims if you like. Ultimately. But here it's surrender your will to Allah. And Abraham said in return, unto him I have surrendered. So surrender is a fourth form Arabic verb. I told you that it's based on the root SLM. When you do it like this, it's a verbal noun of this causative, to cause someone to be at peace, to cause them to make peace, to cause them to surrender. And then he who is doing this surrendering, Islam is the act of surrendering, he who's doing the act of surrendering is a mu is someone who does something, and I am is the person. It's all these words in Arabic are based on patterns. They're three-letter roots that are put together in a pattern. It's a very intellectual language. All the Semitic languages are like this. But Arabic is even more complicated than the others because it's more oral. It was used orally longer. It wasn't put down in writing until very late. So its development is even richer than Hebrew and the others. Hebrew is much simpler than this because it was put into writing maybe 10th century BC, where this wasn't put into writing until the 8th century AD, 700s AD. So up to that time was all oral. So funnily, oral languages turn out to be more complicated than written languages, funnily enough. We think the opposite, but it isn't true. Anyway, so you should really circle these passages here, because you're right in this is the heart of Islam you're in now. This is Islam. This is what every Muslim knows. This is real Islam. And so, when the Lord said surrender to 131, and he said, I have surrendered. And he enjoined this on all his sons. He doesn't mention Isaac here, notice. His sons, plural. Meaning, how many sons did Abraham have in the Bible, by the way? 12. 12 sons, just like the other ones. Because he had a third wife called Keturah, who's not mentioned here or anyplace else, but she's there. And there's Sarah, Hagar, and Keturah. And Keturah has about 10 other sons besides Sarah's Isaac and Hagar's Ishmael. So, hey, we know more than the Quran already, don't we? Because we know the name of all of Abraham's sons, and we know how many wives he had and everything else. Do you think the author of this knew that? No, I don't think so. And because this is more oral transmission, you see.